After listening to this session, the listener will get a clear idea about usage of OLED image library, converting an image into bitmap, displaying images on OLED will be clearly taught. Images on OLED display. Need for displaying images. Generally, none of the OLED display in the world displays the text alone. Almost all of the OLED displays are used for displaying text along with images. Kiosks use images for interacting with the user. OLED displays on the wristbands also use images for displaying various body parameters. As the proverb says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Many use images for conveying the necessary content instead of writing in words. For an instance, on a wristband, the number of steps walked is indicated by the foot symbol instead of writing it as a text. Resizing an image. The OLED display we are using is of aspect ratio 128 into 64 pixel. So we need to resize the image to be displayed on the OLED to the same aspect ratio. You can resize image using any of the online resizer or Adobe Photoshop or even Microsoft Paint. We have used Microsoft Paint for resizing to the desired image. As an instance, we are using Wiley logo for a demonstration, but you can use any image for displaying on OLED. The selected Wiley logo from the internet is of the aspect ratio 576 into 231. Let the resizing continue. Step 1. Select the image to be resized. It can be of any aspect ratio and can have any background. It need not be transparent. Step 2. Open the image using Paint as we have shown in front of you and click a resize option at the top left corner, which is circled. You can see that here this is the resize option and you got to click it. Select the pixels radio button and type 128 at horizontal and do not change the vertical box content. Let the vertical box content remain the same and check the maintain aspect ratio box. From the step 3, you can see that by maintaining the aspect ratio of the image, we are not obtaining the required 128 x 64 aspect ratio. By making horizontal 128 pixels, if you get the vertical side less than 64 pixels, then you need to add some background color to the image and to try to center the image. If you get the vertical side greater than 64 pixels, then try removing some part of the image. In our case, we got the vertical side as 51, which is less than 64. So we have added some background color to make it 128 x 64 and then center the image using the select option button. You can see that all these are demonstrated as pictorial representations here. We have used the select option to center this text and that's it, work is done. Interfacing OLED. Now remember, the VCC of the OLED must be connected only to the 5 volt of Arduino Uno but not to 3.3 volts. Similarly, remember the 5 volt to VCC of OLED, the ground of Arduino to ground of OLED, the A4 of Arduino to SDA of OLED, the A5 of Arduino to SEL of OLED are the connections and the same has been represented pictorially for your quicker and easier reference. Installing OLED libraries. We have tried a lot of libraries for displaying images on OLED. Finally, we found U8GLIB library as the best suited one for displaying images on OLED. In this tutorial, we will be using U8GLIB library for displaying the logo of Wiley on the OLED. To install this library, you can open an Arduino IDE and use the inbuilt add.zip library option, or you can just extract the zip file and copy the files into the libraries folder. You can see that include library and add.zip options are highlighted. Converting image to bitmap. As we know, we can view an image in our PC or mobile phone only if it is in a particular format, like the PNG or JPG. And we can read only if the images are of that particular format which our mobile or laptop accepts. In the same way, OLED can display the images only if they are in bitmap format. To convert an image into bitmap, visit the website https:// disuthad.com/image2cpp and upload the previously resized image. We have named the resized image as wiley_128x64.png. Under the section 1, select image and choose the files and upload the resized image. You can see that here, select image, choose files and just select that image and it will now prompt you to upload. If you are able to resize the image, feel free to skip the slide. If you are not able to resize the image, then you must follow the following steps. Step 1. After uploading the unresized image, in 2 image settings section, change the values in the canvas to 128 and 64 respectively. You can see that here the canvas size is available. Here we need to change the size as 128 into 64 and the input file is nothing but the wiley logo.png is mentioned here and that's it, your work is done. The step 2 is you can choose any background color but it is always preferred to go with opposite color of the foreground image. Here the wiley logo is black in color, hence we prefer to stay with white. You can see that the white color is selected. Step 3. You can invert the colors by checking Invert Image Colors checkbox. Remember to change the background color in case you are inverting the colors. For better clarity, one could refer the images presented below. You can see that the background color is white and invert is not ticked. So when you preview it, it will be this way. But when you tick the invert color option, you will get the preview with clear output like this. Now remember, it is always recommended to have a black background and white foreground. That is called dark theme, and when using OLED displays, this is most preferred. This type of configuration increases the battery life by switching off the OLEDs at the black portions, and this is very important point to note and this is to be remembered. Step 4. You can adjust the brightness threshold as required as well. Under the scaling option, select scale to fit, keeping the proportions if you haven't resized the image. If you have resized the image, select the original size. You can see that here the center and scaling are available, where in scaling we have selected scale to fit, keeping proportions. And the step 5, if you have not resized the image before or if you have already resized the image but didn't center it, then click horizontally and vertically checkboxes in the center. You can see that the center, horizontally and vertically both are clicked. Step 6. You can preview the image under section 3. Under section 4, the output for code output format, select Arduino code. You can see that here in 4 code output format, you need to select as Arduino code. Identifier is nothing but a variable which you wanted to store the bitmap information. Variable shouldn't have any space in between, so we have named it as wiley_logo. You can remember it as name. Select draw mode as horizontal. These two are very important to be remembered, and identifier is nothing but a variable which can be remembered as a name, and draw mode is nothing but horizontal to be chosen. Remember that even though we have downloaded a white background image, we are using a black background image for OLED. Now click generate code and copy the obtained text in the below text box. This is the required bitmap and is to be pasted in the Arduino code. You can see that the required bitmap is clearly presented and you may not be able to understand it, but this is what is the converted bitmap of the image. Include u8glib.h for accessing the OLED's pixels and displaying the bitmap image on the OLED. The copied bitmap in the 8th step that we have just discussed must be pasted here by deleting the previous bitmap. Here, the wiley_logo is the variable which stores the bitmap of the image. To have a clarity, we go back here and we can see that the name is wiley_logo, which is nothing but the variable, and this is the bitmap that is generated, and that's what is referred here. And you can see that in the code we have included u8glib.h and similarly the wiley logo 128x64. This is nothing but the bitmap of the generated bitmap of the input image. u8g_prepare method is a function used for initializing the default foreground color, fonts and font size in case you are printing any text. Draw is a method or a function which is used for drawing image on the OLED. Similarly, u8g.draw bitmap p is actual function of u8g library for drawing bitmap. Similar to the OZ OLED library, the first two digits of draw bitmap p, that is the 0, 0 functions represent the x, y position of the map. You can see the same set of content is presented as a code snippet in front of you. And this is very important to be remembered, where 16 represents the number of bytes of bitmap in horizontal direction and 64 represents the height of the bitmap. Baud rate, as usual, is set to 9600 and the same can be seen in parallel in form of code. The image is printed on the OLED in the form of picture loops. The u8g.first page shows the start of the picture loop. So you can see that here u8g.first page, that is nothing but the start of the picture loop. Next to it, we need to create the do while loop. The while loop. Anything we want to show on the OLED should be written inside the do while loop. The do while loop will keep running until u8.next page returns a 1. Exercise. As an exercise, take a photo of yours, convert it to bitmap and try to display it on the OLED display. This could sound little difficult in the beginning, but it's definitely easy if you try. Also, try to display the FSR values along with an image. The connections for displaying image along with FSR values is same as we have dealt in the previous session. In case if you are not able to solve, refer to image_OLED_FSR.INO code that we have provided. For more information on U8GLIB library, refer to U8GLIB user manual that we have provided. Thank you. As you can see, we have made all the connections between the Arduino Uno and the OLED as we have shown you in the tutorial. Let's go with resizing an image using an external software. What do? The first step is to download the image which you want to go ahead and to process with. Let me go to Google and let me download the image which I like. I can choose any browser of my choice and I am choosing to go ahead with the Wiley logo. I am clicking one of these logos and the dimensions are 526 x 231 as you can see. I am saving it right in my desktop as Wiley logo white.png. Once it is saved, my work with the browser is over. Now we are going to resize it and we can open the tools like Paint as I am doing right now, and you could see the image available right there. And we need to click resize and go to horizontal. Now we need to change it, where clicking pixels is most important before you go about it. And in the horizontal, type 128. Do not do anything with the vertical. Click maintain aspect ratio and click OK. The moment you do it, you can see that it's resized and the new dimension 128 x 51 pixels is available, and you can see that in the bottom line of the same paint tool. But we need to get it better. So we need to adjust by dragging the box, and you could see that the new dimension is now adjusted as 128 x 64. But the image, the Wiley logo is not centered. So select the select box and press down arrow so that it can be centered and it will look nice. Any logo will look nice only when it is centered. So we have done the same and we need to now save it. The dimensions are re-reduced as 128 x 64 from the original dimension, and that is easy for us to process. Let's generate a bitmap right now. How do we do it? It's step-by-step process. Please follow me carefully so that you can do that without any hindrance. Go to the website that we have given in the theoretical tutorial, open it, and you can see that you will get sequence of steps over there as 1, 2, 3, etc. Click on 1. Now we have already got the image selected. Click that Wiley logo. Now go to image settings. You need to make sure that all the settings are properly done as we do so that you will not have any trouble there. Set up the size, canvas size as 128 x 64. It should be set already. Background is black. Invert image colors must be selected, and brightness threshold, let's retain it as 128. Now the scaling, you can see there are multiple options available, but it is better to retain original size, and centering should be done horizontally as I told you. Now the preview would be available where you could see that the Wiley is white in color but the background is black as expected. Now the fourth step, we need to get the code output format for Arduino. So we have selected that, and the identifier name should be given as anything that you like. Here we have given it as Wiley logo, and the draw mode is horizontal. You have got the code generated right now, and that's it. Our work is done. What is the next step to do? Open the available image underscore OLED.ini file. We have already copied the generated code. So what's the next step? As we must have expected, we need to replace that here in this section. You can see that here I'm just selecting the previously available content over there, and we are replacing it with the new content that we have copied from the tool that has generated as the BMP content. That's it. Once you are done with it, you can upload the code onto the board. The compilation happens right now, and you could see that compiling status is updated. Once it is done, we'll get it uploaded smoothly, and uploading happens right now, and done uploading has come. That's all. Your process over. Let's see what exactly to be done next. This is very simple procedure, but yet you should not miss any steps. Directly resizing is also possible. You can do the resizing directly, and that's what we are going to do right now. How do we do it? Very simple. We are downloading the same image, and you can see that I'm saving the same image as Wiley. Let me change the name of the file because I have got another file by the name Wiley logo white. Let's go into the same website where we have generated the BMP code. In that, select this newly generated, newly downloaded file. There you can remove the previous one and give the updated canvas size as here 128 into 64 is what I want, and it will automatically be resized when I give this option. The previous way we generated it, this way you can generate it using the web tool itself if you do not know how to resize it with Paint or any other tool. Rest all things remain the same, but the scaling should be scale to fit, keeping proportions. That is very, very important. Do not forget it. And center also you need to do as we have done. But the code output format remains the same. The name of the identifier can be anything that you want, and generate code should be clicked after selecting the draw mode as horizontal. Once you have given that, you will get the code generator, and that's all. You can go ahead to the same INO file and copy paste this newly generated format, the code, into the file. And once it is done, you can compile it and upload it. Once the uploading is done, that's all. The world of usage is very, very simple, and you will get the output immediately on your OLED. Now you can see the way the compilation happens. We have explained both the methods, and you can follow any of the methods, any of these methods that you would like to go ahead with. Uploading is done right now, and what is the next step? Let's go ahead and see the output. You can see that the Wiley is getting displayed as appropriately as it has to be. This is the BMP image that we have used, and this has been converted as code, and we uploaded it to the board, and the same has been displayed nicely with the OLED. Now we have interfaced FSR also, and you can see that the FSR value is displayed on top of the logo, and that's 0.00 because we have not given any impact or any pressure on the FSR. We can give the pressure, and appropriately the same value would be displayed based on the pressure that we give above the Wiley logo. It will be displayed. Very simple and easy to use. All the interfacing and the demo has been done based on the complete connections that we have explained previously in the session theoretically about the connection diagrams. Now I am pressing it to give an impact on the FSR. You can see that the FSR value is changing, and when I remove the hand, it is becoming 0 back as it was earlier. That's all. This is the way you can interface, and you can use the complete BMP and the sensors like FSR, and you can interface OLED to get the output value as you want.